Welcome to the 8th edition of the Make the Adjustment podcast. Today's guest is a legend in the professional staffing and solution space in Justin Priest. Justin is a friend, former colleague of mine, who is currently the Chief Operating Officer at ConsultNet, where he leads operations and strategy across talent, technology services, and managed solutions. Justin has 2 decades of experience doing this, scaling complex organizations. Today, I hope he's going to share insights that are going to help leaders that listen to the pod execute with clarity, build strong teams, have an amazing culture, and navigate change with confidence. And beyond that, good stuff. Like me, he's a guy who likes to have fun at work. So as much as he's all about getting results, I've worked with Justin long enough and know him long enough to know that he likes to have fun doing it. So Justin, you're a good friend. Thanks for doing this with me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Chris. Everything that you said is so kind. As you're saying it all, I'm like, is that all really true? I feel like I just started yesterday, especially like being here with you, someone that I respect so much as a trainer in my early days, a year into the business. So I love how things like this come full circle, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to talk to you today.
Thanks, buddy. Well, it's funny you say that. When I started my company 3 years ago, obviously, you remember we worked at Sapphire and Randstad. There was a core value called best concepts. And all I've done through the years, I think you've done this too, is we try to copy and paste the best things that we've seen in our career. And so when I started MTA Consultancy, that's all I did. Everything we did at Sapphire and Randstad, New Boston Systems, Medicus, anywhere I worked previously, I just tried to bring that with me. So talk to me about ConsultNet and what you're doing there and how you've brought some of the things that we used to do back in the good old days to your new company and your new role.
Yeah, that's a good question. If you think back to what we were doing in the early days, and I joined Sapphire Technologies, which was a company that was growing rapidly, hiring, investing, opening new markets and accounts. There was this, and I have referenced it in all the different leadership roles I've had, this perfect balance of accountability and fun. And so as you go through, your career, whether you're in a production role, whether you're in a leadership role, an executive leadership role, if accountability is too high and fun is too low, people get burnt out and they hate life, right? If fun is too fun and accountability is too low, like people are like, hey, this is a great job. I'm not making money. We're not hitting our target. So what I think we did really well, and I've always tried to bring with me in every organization is, and you said it, I try to have fun. I try to bring that, like, what we do is really, really hard, and we're going to set the bar extremely high for what we're going to achieve for results. But if we can not only hold ourselves to a high standard and achieve those standards, but have fun doing it, it makes everybody culturally, right, feel like they are loving what they do and excited to come to work every day. So I think that's one thing. The other thing, and I've been talking to our CEO, who Alicia Chesson-Gensler,
Of course,
is there are people that come to work every single day and love what they do, and then there are people that come to work every day and punch a time clock. And if you bring people in that, and you embody, you love what you do, which I've been fortunate to really 99% of my career love what I do. The 1% I made a job change, which was time. That just brings kind of that energy that people bring to work every single day where, like, you have a purpose for what you do. So I think maybe those 3 things, accountability, fun, purpose, if you get that right, you're going to have a recipe for success.
I mean, that's the first clip for the teaser for the show, man. I mean, it's funny you say that. I like the way you said it because honestly, Justin, I don't think I've ever heard somebody say it the way you did, because as I coach other companies, I've probably worked with 30 or 40 different organizations the last 2 or 3 years. And one company I'm already thinking of is delivering results, but people are starting to get worn out. So the accountability is there and they're winning, but they're not having fun. And there's another company I work with, interestingly, where they're having a ball, but nobody's getting any work done.
Yeah.
But and I want to talk about, because I've referenced this, a lot of staffing leaders listen to the podcast. A lot of entrepreneurs who aren't in staffing listen to it. You and I were very lucky to have the career that we had previously. And by the way, I'm still very lucky today, as are you, but we played on a winning team for many, many years, back in the 2000 to 2008, 2010 range at Sapphire Technologies. I like to ask anybody I worked with this question, because when you think about accountability, getting results, and then having fun doing it, we had that for a decade plus. How do you deconstruct it? What are the ingredients of the soup? If you're telling an entrepreneur or leader out there, like, hey, these are the ingredients to mix together to make that happen, what do you think some of those things are?
what I saw and had the opportunity to experience, which I've taken with me, and I will say, me as a leader, I am a student leader constantly, meaning I really don't have a great skill set that's naturally inside of me, but I've been fortunate to work with some really talented people that I glean and steal stuff from all the time. And what I stole from, that early instance of Sapphire Technologies that became Ronstadt was it just felt like everyone was so connected, cared, had passion, was willing to work extra hours. I think back to being a junior account manager in the Cleveland, Ohio branch and picking up the phone and calling the top sales rep in the company who in big organizations would probably not give you the time of day and say like, who's this chump calling me? She actually took the time to talk to me and like give me some guidance and how did you get to where you're at? And I think those things, when you have kind of this culture of everybody's bought in, it goes back to the like truly care and have a purpose for what you do, but that existed there. The leadership team I felt was extremely open and, things that can get lost in the sauce as organizations grow or become large, because I've seen organizations go from small to large is, if a leader walked into any office, and I've been in many, they knew everybody's name in every single office. And that makes
Right.
people feel like they're truly connected to the broader vision. I've heard you talk about kind of the T strategy from Bob Dickey, right? And I think that is a
T-shaped
big part of
leadership.
it is the T-shaped leadership where it's like, hey, what's for the company, but what's for kind of the branch of the team. And that really existed. And I think a great way of doing that is how we evolved and would roll out new capabilities. I mean, I remember when I came in early to Sapphire, I think I brought in an opportunity for a project and we hadn't started selling services yet. My boss looked at me, he's like, we don't do that. I was like, we need to figure this out because this could be a couple $1 million, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward 5 years, and it's like, that's our bread. We do this
Absolutely.
all day. So that willingness to evolve and get people on board to go do it was a huge part of it too.
Yeah. It is funny that those are good insights. I think you're right. People were competitive, but we weren't competitive in a negative way. We're always willing to help each other. Because I have a similar story. Ronna Fenton, Chicago, number 2 in the company, helped me out. She didn't have to help me out. I was just a kid in Boston, right? But she helped me out. And so I think helping each other in a genuine way and not worrying about or being jealous about, well, I'm gonna help this person. They might do better than me. It's like we want everybody to do great. Like that was
Yeah, that's and similarly, like as an account executive, because I was provided that same graciousness from a top sales rep. If we hired anybody in Cleveland, I was like, let them come on the road with me. I want them to see what I do. I want them to feel free to ask me questions because I would like to help them become great because I was afforded the same opportunity. Again, man, I was a ball of clay that had very little to offer, and I was so fortunate to work with talented people to help mold me into something decent.
Me and you both, buddy. I was just a few years older than you, man. It was the same thing for me. I couldn't spell sales in 1996. And right. Bob Dickey and Dan Foley and many others molded me into a pretty decent sales guy and leader, right? So yeah, we're a function of who we surround ourselves with for sure.
Absolutely.
So, one thing I want to talk about is your leadership style. So there are different natural leadership styles. We've done assessment tests on people. You can do DISC and Wonderlic and all these things. And I learned through life that my style was the coaching style. Like I'm a natural coach. Like that's just a style I fall into. I don't know if you have a word to describe it, but how would you describe your leadership style and how that style has helped you get the results that you've gotten through the years? Because you have, slayed it for 2 decades now.
Thank you. Yeah. I would say the one word is evolving constantly because to your point on a DISC style, when I was an early leader, I was a producing leader. So I was as high of a D as you could possibly be. Like
dominant
walls. Yeah. If it's slow in the office, I'm going to create the activity by getting on the phone and making it happen. And it served its purpose at the time. But as like my team and responsibilities grew, I had to become more of a coach and more of like an eye and, able to ask questions and listen. And so I think it really started to evolve. And, I was very fortunate again to report up to a man by the name of Taz Stevens, who we both know, who was awesome and a great coach that, kind of helped me shape that leadership and point out some of the maybe as a high D, it's not going to work well now that you have a team of 20 people. You need to kind of evolve your style and help coach and mentor folks along the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, even as you've had a career in leadership, and I've been in leadership now for like 15 years, also being willing to like accept that you don't know everything and like comfortable in situations. Like I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
We have a new account executive that we've hired in our organization. She reports to me right now. I'm training her and developing her. I had given her specific instructions on what to do. And she went and did it and came back and called me and was like, I did it. And actually, I got a job order and it wasn't necessarily in our core suite of services. So I didn't give her great direction. I said, hey, that's on me. I didn't give you clear enough direction on what you need to do. I'm going to own it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I talk to everybody about in our business, or I think anything sales focused, is, number one, you have to be okay with failure, right? And when I started working originally for Alicia, and they moved me into an SVP role at Randstad, the first thing she said to me is, hey, and I appreciated the we, are going to fail a lot, but we're going to learn from it, move quick, and get better. And so giving people, and I hear you talk about safe space all the time, a safe space to fail is like, one of those things that I think as I went from a D to an I to even getting into a room with people and just getting them to feel comfortable so they can become their authentic self and you can understand what motivates them and what are they driving for. It's evolving constantly.
Yeah. You hit so many things there, man. First of all, the we tactic is a great tactic for leaders to understand. When you talk to your team or your individual contributors or another boss that you work with, when you say things like, hey, Justin, here's what we're going to do. I'm really saying, here's what you're going to do. But by saying we, I'm in it with you, right? It's like, I'm not beating you over the head with it. It's like, hey, I'm sitting on your side of the desk trying to help you get there.
Absolutely.
You also talked about vulnerability in leadership. And I've worked with leaders that have very big egos that can't check it. And it catches up with them at some point. And they don't have that psychological safety or that safe space with their people. I've sat in rooms with leaders where I sit there and the leader's the one talking. And I'm like, if you're the one always talking, they're not doing any of the work. Like there's a bunch of ideas over here that you're not even hearing because they're afraid to even talk to you right now. But sometimes people think that that's leadership. Like I'm the general and this is where we're going. And it's like,
if I don't have the loudest voice in the room, but actually the biggest, most successful teams, and even in our organization, is you want the loudest voices in the room to be those people that are truly driving the business forward, which are our best people, and trying to elevate as many of those people into that position as you possibly can.
All right. Well, I have this is a fun question for you. It's a little bit harkens on Ronsa, but it's about your current role today as COO. So you probably remember, it's in my coaching practice. I talk about it all the time still. I stole it from Ronstad. 5% strategy, 95% execution. So I want to talk to you about in your role as COO. I've talked to C-suite leaders all the time. They say, Chris, some of the toughest things for me is executing vision. So talk to me about, it's 2026. I'm sure you have your vision in place and people know where they're going, but what are the tricks from between vision and executing that vision?
Yeah. It's interesting because I think I've been fortunate to be a part of a very go-focused structure my entire career. And so strategy does always take a small portion of like, there's a vision, but go get it. Actually, going back to your earlier question, what did we do really well in early parts of our career? And that's sauce. There wasn't a lot of disruption by new strategy. It was always focused on the execution, focused on the intangibles, and good things will come. So I think that's been a big part of it, is ensuring that we're driving the key activities that need to happen. And interestingly enough, like here we are 20 years later and longer for you and others, it hasn't changed that much. Like our businesses, we need to be talking to people.
Yes.
My title's very deceiving in that there's like a sales strategy and how we align our services to sales, but very much so like I've met 5 customers today, right? And talking about what we do and how we solve their challenges and like what's happening in 2026 and what are they doing with AI and what platforms are they using for ERP? So I think execution is the most critical component to a successful organization. And that's truly where we spend. 95% of our time is what does the execution look like and how do those results fit? And if we didn't hit the results that we set up, how are we going to change our execution moving forward to get there? And it's like a constant go. There's not a lot of sitting around and talking. It's go.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that like weekly, monthly, quarterly? You're looking at that every week, I'm guessing, maybe daily. I don't know, but you tell me.
Yeah, it's daily. But I think more so, and I learned this early on, that because our business is very much so in a annualized fashion, you really want to look at things in a 4-week trend and have an idea of kind of how are you trending, as opposed to like what'd you do last week. It was the old adage, like work Wednesday to Wednesday because you're trying to fill up your future funnel. It's very much so, you can't just look at 1 week. It's a whole product of what you've done. So
Talk to me about the challenges, because you have a unique perspective because you ran a recruiting desk back in the day at one point, right? You
I went
recruited.
straight into sales, but
Okay.
like mind you,
Yeah.
the sales were when you were a new account executive, no one would work your job, so you had to learn how to
Yeah.
recruit
Yeah. You
but they
recruited.
were
Yeah. So there
fillable.
you
So I
go.
did recruit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, because I know I know you have the sales background, but talk to me about the market the last year and a half. It's been a tough market for
Yeah.
sales, for
Yeah.
driving sales. What have you found to be useful when it comes to tips, tricks to not make, because I know you're a guy, you do not make excuses. Like you can't just say, oh, the market sucks and, it's going to be a tough month. Like what are some of the things that you did in the down market to re-engage the team, keep them motivated? They're getting beat up out there. Just talk to me about ideas, things that you've done that are practical that would help leaders that were listening to the podcast.
Yeah. Well, I obviously don't want to give away all of our secret sauce, so I'll talk at a
No.
high level, right?
Yeah.
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 It was a really interesting kind of roller coaster of a year last year. I think kind of exclamation point with some of the Doge and tariff stuff where like it seemed like a lot of our customers just stopped for a minute, right? It
Right.
was like, let's take a beat. I was like, is this COVID all over again? What we've done a phenomenal job of in the past 2.5, 3 years is introducing new capabilities, right? Either via acquisition, via, bringing in people that have this capability and helping by showing our team how to deliver that service to our customer, right? So being kind of the leader that'll get on and say, hey, I know you guys are using XYZ product. Let us talk to you about some of the things we've done with other customers or how we can help you be more successful or drive cost savings. So that's been probably the biggest driver of like what's excited our reps. And I think where we've seen reps really take off in terms of growth over last year is the ones that have embraced new capabilities. But I mean, the staffing market's still pretty dang good. You hear companies laying off with AI and things like that, but even more so, we have tons of customers building AI center of excellence and hiring 80 people. So I think, it's kind of being offset. So some of that seems a little overstated. The market seems really strong kind of ending last year and going into this year. So we're pretty optimistic and excited about what's ahead.
Well, so that's a great segue too, because obviously I wrote my book, Make the Adjustment, which is based on embracing change. And that's what you're talking about. So when you had conversations with reps, when you're talking about, a rep's like, hey, I've been selling this service for so long, it's not working. And you're talking about AI and just other service lines you guys have and ideas you have. Walk me through how you navigate those conversations with somebody that's maybe resisting change.
Yeah. So I'll give you this analogy because I was talking to my father-in-law over Thanksgiving, and he is an artist by hobby, and then he works for a huge entertainment company as an art director, and like he wants to shift away from that because at the point of retiring to start selling art. And he's like, my issue is, I sell my paintings, which I was like, that's not bad for like $5,000, but I need to start selling them for $30,000 to $35,000. I was like, it's interesting because I think in our business, we tried to solve that same challenge. And like our biggest shift was number one, how we talk about who we are, what we do, and delivering more value to our customers. So like, how do you talk about your paintings and what kind of like passion and love do you put into it? But also who we're talking to about what we do and what we do. And are you talking to the right audience that's going to buy a $35,000, $40,000 painting? So I think that's been our biggest shift was the messaging. And if you followed along with us and seen kind of our website evolution over the past 2 years, I mean, it went from kind of very staffing focused to, hey, here's the things that we have been doing for years, but we didn't really lean into and highlight. And so I think that's been the biggest change is just being confident and trust who we are and then go ensure we deliver the way that we want to deliver for our customers.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your take on AI? Because, we can't do a podcast in 2026 and not talk about AI and usage of AI. I mean, when I do like change surveys, Justin, there's innovators, early adopters, fence setters, laggards. And I'm not going to lead you to the answer. What are you in that construct of change? And how are you guys adapting to the world of AI internally? And obviously there's external opportunities for you as well. Just talk to me about what you're seeing in AI.
Yeah, it's been everywhere for the past, especially 18 months. It comes up in every single conversation. I met with the chief procurement officer of one of the 3 largest financial services organizations in the world today. And AI was a huge topic of conversation, right? So it's everywhere and everything. I would say, because I love to tinker and learn, and again, I don't know anything, so I just want to learn more. I've been an early adopter of AI, right? Like whether it's large language models, finding ways to accelerate how I can operate and how I can do things. I think all of us, if you take a step back and really evaluate the you today versus the you 2 years ago, if you've been using AI, you are exponentially better. Like, I truly think sometimes I do things and people are like, how did this person do that? Like, right. And it's like, well, because I figured out how to leverage what exists, right? To be more productive, more thoughtful in how I respond. And it takes a lot of just, kind of getting familiar with it and embracing it. But yeah, I would say definitely more on the leading side. From an organization perspective, similarly, it's been important to us to bring our team and staff along on that journey. One of the things that we did early on was say, look, we want to evolve and be a leader in the AI space because it's, an evolution of technology. It's a new service that we can provide. And we had been doing some AI work around RPA and machine learning, but in a smaller capacity.
Yeah.
So some of the things that we've done is looked at what is our current population of resources that we place with customers exist in a AI-enabled capacity. So like, how many talent do we have out there today that could go do these AI projects, but didn't even know they could, and say, hey, could we help you upskill to become that resource that could help build these centers of excellence? We also put our entire team from sales, recruiting, executive, operations response team, support through an AI training and certification class, right? And any and all things, not just like how to use ChatGPT, but like how to leverage it in your email, how to, think about AI and where it's going in our business. So we've done that. So, we're very much so constantly talking about it, thinking about it. And, we partner and work with a thought leader in the space. His name's Paul Golden. He wrote the book AI Alchemist, and we have him engaged on a lot of customer engagements. He's awesome too. So
shout out Paul.
So, cool. Shout out to Paul. He's phenomenal. We want to be in those conversations, right? But we're not trying to be the Accentures, the McKinseys. We want to be that partner that can help. To your point, not the 5% strategy, the 95% execute. Like, let's go put this into action and help ensure that you're moving down the path and not just throwing use cases out of the wall.
Yeah, we didn't prep before the call. I knew you would have some sort of early adopter innovator answer, which I was not surprised at. It's JP, it's funny. Obviously, I have the luxury of meeting new customers and new people, and the people that are resisting, I tell them the story about farmers. I say, hey, 100 years ago, it's now 2026. It's 1926. What's the number one job in the United States? Farming. What percentage of labor were farmers? 10%. Now it's less than 1%. Why? Well, because horses get replaced with tractors and so you have to start thinking about it. Then I'll date myself. I mean, I'm 55 years old. When I would study in high school and college, I read encyclopedias. So if you said, hey, Chris, let's get smart on business development, let's just pick sales. I'd go to encyclopedia and read, and it would take hours and days. And I can get smart in 30 seconds with AI. And so if you're not adopting, like you said, some form of this is a useful tool, instead of resisting it, you're already behind. And I don't know if you saw the Joe Rogan podcast, but Elon Musk said in 5 years, cell phones are going away. Everything's going to be AI based. So
singularity's coming. What does that look like? We don't know, but it'll be.
And when I don't want to talk to AI, then I go to my buddy's vacation house, right?
Jump in the hot tub or the sauna.
Exactly.
Turn the lights off and just let ourselves just have
exactly. So cool. Yeah. All right. So another tactical leadership question. So another challenge that my clients face, that I'm sure you face internally, you've seen this before, are top individual contributors that can be good leaders, but they have a hard time getting off the desk. Like they're still in that in-between role of like, do I sell, recruit? Do I talk to my team? Like, what do I do? How do you identify those people? How do you navigate people through that to get them from being a great individual contributor to leader? Just what are some of the things that you think about when I ask you that?
That's a good question that I have not thought about for a hot minute, but I think it starts to become more of a natural. You see in people that truly have the aspirations to do it.
Yeah.
Couple examples. There are people that actively raise their hand and want to be coached and want to be developed and want to take that next step and are probably ready 2 years before they know they are, but are like, I'm ready to go that path. And, you kind of give them opportunities to take some people under the wing, to mentor, to see how do they respond. It really comes down to, I think, with people, the best leaders I've ever worked with actually get more enjoyment out of seeing their people win and know that that's a product of them winning. Where I've had problems with top producers is they can't kind of let go of being the top top performer. Like even as a leader, I still have to get the recognition. I want to be on the stage. I need the kudos. And, my mindset has always been, if I make my team successful, it's going to kind of help me be great at what I do. It's so interesting, Chris. Like every time I had an opportunity to take a new step in leadership, I didn't realize I was ready. I wasn't asking for it. Like I'd be like, hey, we want you to go do this. And I'm like, I don't think I'm ready for that right now. Right. Back to the, like, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to fail, but we're going to learn from and get better. I think my first reaction when I got the call was like, yeah, are you sure this is a good idea? Like this could go horribly wrong, Right. And so I think sometimes it's like you master the role that you're in and then you show that aptitude to get to the next level of whatever that leadership journey is. And then I think are willing to go there. So not every top performer is leadership material. Some are just great top performers and want to make the most money, and they want to be the Alex Rodriguez, not the Joe Torre, right? So you got to figure out, is that truly what you want to do? And unfortunately, through trial and error, I've learned sometimes you promote an Alex Rodriguez and they just want to be Alex Rodriguez. So
right, exactly. Well, but you're the story there too. There's a few messages there, but one is, for you individually, you just keep climbing. You keep trying to get better. You keep trying to win. And you don't even recognize the fact that you've climbed Mount Everest. Like you don't even know how high you've climbed. You just keep climbing every day.
Yeah. And
that's the epitome of a growth mindset. That's the epitome of relentless persistence and just continually growing and trying to get better and being humble. And there's so many lessons to be learned there. Because you have and deserved every role you've gotten, but you weren't thinking about it that way. You're just doing your job and you're trying to do the right thing for your people. And I remember having a conversation with you years ago. We were doing events in Boston, flying people in. And I'd say, hey, Justin, we're trying to grow your team out there. We're trying to help out. You're like, hey, I want to send 2 of my people. I don't care if I don't go. And I'm like, no, you're going to come. But you were always like that servant leader. Like, no, I don't need to go. And I'm like, well, no, I need you to come because I need a guest speaker. But I'm like, your people are coming. That's fine. But I think that's the mindset. It's tough because I talk to leaders all the time. You have to have ego and cachet and confidence. But you have to learn how to balance that with vulnerability, humility, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's like the recipe for a great salesperson, the recipe for a great recruiter and leaders. There's no perfect secret sauce, but I think, you kind of sprinkle some of these different ingredients in there together, and 5% strategy, 95% execution. How do they execute, right?
Yeah.
Are they getting it done, and are you starting to see the results? And as a leader, are you making those around you better? Is truly the testament to, is someone doing a great job or not?
You've been on a few podcasts in the last couple of years. I know that Casey Jaycox, Brad Owens, if they're listening, I've been on their podcast as well. I don't know if you know, did you see that Casey Jaycox recently got Mike Holmgren on his podcast?
I saw that.
Ex-NFL coach.
I was like, man.
Big take.
Yeah, I think we feel special to have even been in the seat that Mike Holmgren walked into. I think he had Kenny Lofton on there too at one point. The guys.
I know. Yeah, Casey's the man. Well, thank you for introducing me to Casey. And for people that don't follow Casey as a quarterback dadcast, and he's a great leadership coach, sales coach. And Justin, when I started my company, you were the guy that reached out to me and said, you got to talk to Casey, Chris. He has the roadmap for you. And Casey was extremely kind with his time, and we've become very good friends. So thank you for that.
I'll say it too, alive. I met you a year into the business running a thing called RHT, Recent Hire Training. That was a small for Sapphire Technologies, but the energy of that. And at the time, a $200 million company, right? And you fly out with people from Sacramento, Texas, Chicago, I'm Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what a trainer and someone that was really supposed to help me get better outside of my leadership was supposed to be. But you were it. I was like, wow, this guy is phenomenal at what he does. And then rode that wave to become a $1 billion company. And you're doing that function now for a $1 billion company, and you were just, that's what you should do. So it's so exciting to see you, number one, doing what you're passionate about. But I think you are so freaking good at it. So it's really exciting.
Appreciate that, buddy. Yeah. It goes back to how we all grew up. We grew up in an environment where we were taught to help each other out. And I always felt like, you are the net average of the people you spend your time with and you associate with. And anybody that was any good that had the right level of, they're getting results, but they're good people and they're well-intentioned. I wanted to be around. You're one of those guys. We would go to conferences and I'd be like, you're staying an extra day. Me and you were spending time together. And
I
You
so
know that.
appreciated that too. I know, I think you were like, hey, I want to spend time, get to know you. But for me, as a junior leader, to have somebody that's been with the organization that you look up to, again, I'm walking in like, this is the guy, you know?
Yeah.
Those things mean a lot. And again, back to
Yeah.
just what is that those people, and I've tried, that's something I've stole from you, is always making people feel special, important, you know, no matter what, because it truly does get the most out of people.
Well, and it's funny, Justin, because it's, you know, we've all learned in this business, and if you're a staffing leader, you know, relationships over transactions all day long. Casey Jaycox, win the relationship, not the deal. And, you know, whether it's my parents, my upbringing, being around a lot of successful people, that's kind of how I've always treated it. And what's funny is I didn't do it for the transactional element. I just did it because that's how I was taught, and I want to treat people the right way. Then you fast forward to 2023, I start my business. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I know all these people. You know, it's like my network. I told somebody, I was like, I know 20 of the top 100 staffing, top SIA leaders in staffing. I know 20 of them.
That's pretty impressive.
I was like, that's insane. Like, and I could just call them and they pick up my phone. Like, it's just, just talk. Yeah. Right. You know, have you hit that list yet? You got to hit this list soon. It's going to be coming your way soon, dude.
I think you're like, yeah, well, I don't know. That again, to me, is not something
I know it's not about that. I know,
you know, but
I know.
Again, I'm more like, and every day, it's like the people around me, seeing what they accomplished. Did our team get better at the things that we're trying to achieve on? Are we executing towards our goals? Are people making more money? Because that usually means we're doing better, right? And if those things are happening, good things come with it.
Well, again, you're a humble guy. You're a heavy hitter in this industry. I can't thank you enough. Any parting thoughts, things I didn't cover you want to talk about? Any parting thoughts for leaders out there as they approach 2026 and the way they should be approaching it? Anything?
I don't think we said this. We might have said it in our pre-conversation, but like the Chris Mader in the room, whether it was like Leadership in Motion or one of the different trainings, charter club groups that I was a part of that you led, was be all in, be all out. Anything else is wasting everyone's time. And that truly is a phenomenal quote that goes back to, if you care about what you do, you know, great results and the people around you will be successful too. And I think buy-in as well. So that's probably what I'd leave you with. Just a good old Chris Mader antidote.
That's it. You know what though, dude? It's so true, because even today I do coaching, and so think about this, Justin. I'm getting paid a fee. So a CEO calls me and says, hey, coach my sales leader. Okay. So I'm getting a check to coach the sales leader. I'm helping this guy or gal out. And I had a scenario last year that happened. It's funny because this came up, and he was not all in. And I literally gave him that quote, and I said, you need to reflect on that over the week. And if you're not all in, you need to be all out. And I'm not telling you to leave the company, but I don't want you to leave. Like, they're paying me for you to stay. Like, and if you leave, I'm going to lose my check. But I'm like, but if you're not happy, the point of all of this is, if you're not all in, your people are going to see it, your boss is going to see it, your production's going to slip, and at some point they're going to show you the gate anyways. So, you know, I always say relationships change, business cards don't. So just do the right thing. And if you're committed, be committed. If you're not committed, either find your way to get committed or find your way to the exit. Because if you want to be part of an organization that's winning, that's how a winning culture exists.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, if you're not all in, if you don't believe in, when you're in front of your customers, when you're in front of your teams, what you represent, because as a leader, you represent the company you work for sure, hands down.
Yeah.
And that was a hard kind of awakening for me as I decided it was time to move and change careers. Like, I don't like what I represent anymore. I don't feel connected to it. Correct. It's hard to be in front of customers and talk about it and kind of have that fire. And I just recognized it wasn't there. So it was time to go. And maybe you should. I don't want you to lose your check. So, you know, hey, stick around for a little bit. But no, at the end of the day, the world will be better if you don't stay there miserable and not be passionate. Actually, it's probably good for other people if you find something you're truly passionate about.
Exactly. It's awesome, man. Justin Priest, thank you very much, COO of ConsultNet. Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you, work for you? Because I'll tell you what, if I was in staffing still, I'd work for you in a second. So where can people find you?
We are hiring. We would love anybody that's out in the world looking for roles to reach out. You can find me through our website, consultnet.com, on LinkedIn, Justin Priest. We also have a podcast, Tech on Tap, where we interview different technology leaders. So check that out. There's a lot of cool guests that we've had.
Put that in the link.
Our claim to fame is Charles Haley. He 5-time Super Bowl champion, so he's a good one to listen to. But yeah, there's different ways to check me out, and I'd love to connect with anybody that's interested. Awesome. Justin Priest, COO of ConsultNet, thank you for being on the Make the Adjustment podcast, and we will see you
soon. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Mater.